What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Alex here from Team Generations, and today we're going to be looking at the big baddie of the format. We are, of course, talking about Bastion. So, Bastion obviously performed really well at Bushy Road, the Springfest Online. I also went undefeated with it last week at local, so I'm going to just show you the list that I played and just some different deck choices that I would make going forward. Overall, I will also cover just some counterplay and like what you can do if you have an abundance of Bastion players in your locals and just want to kind of get around them. So, yeah, without further ado, let's hop right in. Alright, starting right off with the ride line, we're going to be looking at the grade 0 first. Obviously, this is just the one coming out of the trial deck. I know these coming out in triple rare versions and SP versions a little bit later this month, so be on the lookout for that. But this is just the standard one. When ridden upon, we are going to just draw a card when going second. Our next card up in our ride line is going to be Knight of Heavenly Sword, Fort. So, Fort skill is pretty simple. When ridden upon by the grade 2, we reveal 2 grade 2 cards from our hand and then reveal the top card of our deck. Call to rearguard circle if it's a unit card, and then put it into drop if it is not. Its second skill, act on rearguard circle. Once per turn, counterblast 1. Choose one of your grade 3 Vanguards. It gets an additional 5k until the end of turn. We don't really use this on rearguard, but we'll never pretty much use it on rearguard unless, you know, somehow in the future there's something to really kind of recycle these guys onto the field. But as of now, this is the only grade 1 we're running in the deck outside of the perfect guards. So yep, this is part of the ride line, and this is nice just for like early pressure too. If your opponent is, you know, obviously we run like a ton of grade 3s in here, so if your opponent is susceptible to getting rushed down early, if you call a nice grade 3 off this, it is just nice to have that body on board kind of beating at your opponent. Moving right along, then we are going to go into our grade 2. So this is going to be Knight of Heavenly Spear, Rooks. So its skill, when this card is ridden upon by our Apex Ruler Bastion, we reveal 3 grade 3 cards from our hand, and then we draw a card. Its second skill, during your turn, if you have 3 or more grade 3 units, this guy gets boost plus 5k, so that's honestly not a bad rearguard skill, but again, we just don't run anything but grade 3s really in this deck. In this deck outside of the draw PGs, sorry about that. So yeah, again, just draw power is nice because we desperately need shield and just need those right key cards in our hands in order to kind of make our gameplay just very smooth. And then lastly, obviously, we are running one of Apex Ruler Bastion. So Bastion's an awesome card. Its skill continues on Vanguard Circle. During our turn, all of our grade 3 units get an additional 2k, making these weird numbers just a little bit harder for your opponent to guard out overall. Its second skill, act on Vanguard Circle once per turn. At the end of battle that this unit's drive check revealed a grade 3 card, we get to discard a card from our hand and then choose one of our rear guards and stand it. And that unit gets an additional 10k until the end of turn. So multi-attack is very big, especially for these really nice numbers that this guy is allowing us to hit. And I just want to point out too, obviously we do run the overtrigger in this deck for Keter Sanctuary, and if your rear guard reveals a grade 3 off of their drive check, you can still activate his skill. So this is not saying when his drive check activates, just when you at the end of the battle that your drive check revealed a grade 3. So you can actually proc off of that. I just wanted to give you a warning. I don't think a couple saw a post or two, people weren't sure. So yeah, that is very valid. Nice. And let's hop right into the main deck now. Alright, so starting off, I'm going to show you guys the build that I played last week. I think I'm going to make one tweak to it. I'll point that out right as I kind of go along with the profile, but we are going to be looking at 3 more of Bastion. So obviously Persona riding is just really broken in this game, just really nice, impactful. Draw a card, get that free plus 10k to your front row, like really makes you hit difficult numbers, and if your opponent doesn't have the hand to deal with it, very devastating. And again, we just went over the skill, just a great card overall, like it really, very simple, just restand and go for it. Alright, the next card over here is going to be the Grand Heavenly Sword, Aiden. So its skill, when this card is placed onto Rearguard Circle, we get to Counterblast 2, Soul Blast 1, choose a card from our hand, and then call to Rearguard Circle. If you call to grade 3, we draw 2 cards. And then its second skill, auto on Rearguard Circle. When this unit attacks, if you have 3 or more grade 3 units, this guy gets an additional 5k until the end of turn. So by himself with Bastion's skill in combination with that extra 2k, this is going to be a 20k beater alone, so you can swing in for 20k. And then if you didn't boost it, you can boost it the next time around, have it be even more, which is just really nice. You're hitting really nice numbers overall with this card. So the other thing with this too is that it allows us to draw those 2 cards. Like, that's just huge in this deck. Like, we need a lot of grade 3s. A for shield, I'll show you why in just a second. And then B, like, our hand size, like, we don't have a lot of 5Ks in this deck at all because we aren't running grade 2s, grade 1s in general. So the more cards we have in our hand, we potentially could draw triggers out, which is not like the greatest thing in the world, but this deck doesn't really mind it because you want to actually drive check grade 3s, and overall having that little extra shield value in your hand makes a huge difference. So I'm running this guy at a 4 of. I'm sorry, it's so expensive, it's just like a must of as of right now, as of set 1. Alright, moving into our next card, again, just a really expensive card. This deck is just not exactly budget friendly, so we do have other content if you guys are looking for that. And again, we are going to have Hexorb as well, and I'll show you some budget options for that if you don't want to purchase this card, but stay tuned for that. Subscribe if you haven't already. But this is going to be Knight of War Damage, Fossado. Its skill continues on rearguard circle. This unit cannot be chosen by your opponent's card effects. And then its second skill, auto on rearguard circle when this unit attack hits, counterblast 1, soul charge 1. So this seems like a very bland kind of skill at first, but it solves two issues for us. A, this deck is pretty resource heavy on its rearguard circles. Like, you're doing a lot, you're soul blasting for stuff. Obviously the Alden, I'm sorry, is it Alden, right? It's Alden, right? Yeah, Alden, sorry. Yep. The Alden costs 2 counterblast and a soul blast. This guy just helps relieve and puts that pressure on early. Like if you open up with this guy swinging, your opponent has to decide, like, hey, am I going to let them countercharge? It's going to put me in a bad position later, and can also impact like an attack sequence a little bit later in a card that I will show you. So also the first effect is pretty damn impactful, because there are a lot of cards like Eugene, whatever. Eugene naturally would counter this deck amazingly, and it actually is like one of the hardest matchups I think overall for this deck to keep up with, because they just get rid of your grade 3s, therefore reduce a lot of your shield value. But this guy kind of gets around that, because this guy just can't be chosen by our opponent's card effect. So until they have some like universal bind or just like a retire, this guy is going to just stay on the field. Just a heads up, Barrow Magnus can get rid of this guy, because you're not choosing, you're just, you know, getting everything into your soul when Barrow Magnus's skill is going off. Also for, like, you know, premium purposes and whatnot, like things like Gauntlet Buster or what was it, Cho-Oh, they don't they don't choose, they just kind of bind, they, you know, bind the whole front row. You don't choose the unit, so this guy can be effective with that. But overall, just a very resilient card, and what we really need in the deck, because once our opponent starts sniping away our cards, like, that's when this deck starts to lose. And that is largely due in part to pretty much the reliance on this card for shield value. This is going to be actual Analyst Coco Biel, I think that's how to say it. Its skill continuous on Guardian Circle. If your Vanguard is Apex Ruler Bastion, this unit gets an additional 5k for every 2 of your grade 3 rear guards. So if you have a full field, that's going to be 2, 4, 6, what was that? Yeah, 2, 4, 6, so that's 15k. Plus this and another grade 3, that makes it 20k. Like, you can call another grade 3 to the Guardian Circle in addition to this, as many as you want, and that still buffs up with the little subtext over there, including this unit, because this guy does count for its own requirement. I had somebody kind of call me out on that. Totally fair, but then I told them just read the card, and they're like, oh, didn't realize that. So be aware of that. Very nice card overall, but again, we need grade 3s on the field in order to really make this work, and this also helps us feel just less bad about just calling a ton of stuff from our hand. Moving right along, we're going to another kind of support unit for the deck. Again, this is going to be another grade 3 rearguard. Everything in this deck is pretty much grade 3s. Most people have shown before. That's kind of just what works in the deck. This guy's going to be Dark Strain Dragon, so act on rearguard circle if you have 3 or more grade 3 units. Soul Blast 2, and all of your grade 3 units get boost until the end of turn. So this is really not a hard thing to kind of get your soul back for, but make sure that you're pacing correctly with this card. This really makes you get those like unguardable numbers. Get an extra 15k boost on top of something that's already, you know, 20k, 30k with a you know, the Persona Ride, whatnot, just jacked up all over the place. Can be really devastating, and it's up to you. Sometimes if you want to pressure first with like a restanding Fossado, you boost with him, make it just really tough for your opponent to guard out and say, all right, I'm going to give him the counter charge. Maybe sets you up nice for a little bit another play a little bit later, which I will show you. So yeah, 4 of Dark Strain Dragon, no surprise there. Next up, I decided to actually max this guy out. I know some people kind of cut it, but I think it's just too good at this point in the game to not run at max. So this is going to be Knight of a Broadaxe. God, how do you say this? Rafluke? I think that's an F over there. It's kind of hard for me to see, sorry. Act on rearguard circle, cost, put this into your soul. Choose one of your grade 3 rear guards, and then it gets an additional 10k until the end of turn. So very nice, because it does fix our soul issue. Sometimes you don't have enough for both Dark Strain and for Alden, but this guy helps you achieve that. Plus that extra 10k, I mean, again, it just makes that restanding threatening rearguard just so threatening overall. Like, an extra 10k is pretty big in this game, especially in the mirror match when, like, you don't have a ton of shield in your hand, and a lot of people, you know, are running this deck. Like, this can be the game winner right here. Also, I think a mistake that people do with this card is like kind of pop it a little bit too early. Use this as a body on board earlier in the game, so you're not expending more from your hand if need be. That way you could always pop it into soul and get rid of it for something better a little bit later on, and really make it more impactful during one of your kill turns. But I like to kind of just use this as a beater first and foremost on like my earlier turns, especially if I'm going first. But yeah, nice card overall. And this is coming, I think this one's out of the trial deck, yeah. Alright, moving right along, this is the change that I would probably make. So right now I'm running 2 of the Hour of Holy Judgment, Cometh. I guess that's a pretty funny kind of name. I just realized what it was. But we play this unit with Counterblast 2, we draw 2 cards, and then one of our units gets an additional 5k until the end of turn. Again, just helping us make those funny numbers, getting over some of those thresholds. I think the magic number you're really looking for in this game is 33, and we get over that pretty easily with this card. I probably would bump this down 1 more to make room for 1 more of these cards. This is going to be Divine Sister Lepiste. So her skill, auto on rearguard circle, when your drive check reveals a trigger unit, we get to Counterblast 2, stand this unit, and it gets an additional 5k until the end of turn. Now, I really do like the Cometh, but overall, I think the Alden just does it a little bit better. It's just, you know, you're calling that grade 3 down, you're just drawing 2 cards off that, it gets power itself. So overall, I mean, if you have both of them and you can get them off, why not? The Fasado can help you countercharge mid-battle in order to reach the requirement for that Counterblast 2. So I feel like every time I see this card and I get it off like successfully with the double restand, like I win every single game. I feel like almost like 90% of my games that I see her, I win with her. So I don't know. I know she is like very, very cost intensive with that Counterblast 2, but I think the skill is just like amazing, and this card makes it not feel bad when you drive check a trigger in the deck, which normally is just not the greatest thing in this deck. This is the only deck you don't almost want to be drive checking a trigger. Alright, moving right along to the final card in the main deck, we are going to be looking at 4 of the Perfect Guards. So again, this is pretty simple, just nothing really to say here. Perfect Guards are strong. This is the one from the latest set, just because the discard from hand, if you have just this card in hand, is really powerful. Like, you don't need to discard another card at the same time. So yeah, running 4 of those. Alright, moving right into the triggers, let me see over here. I'm going to actually pan this back, give me 1 second. Alright, starting off with our over trigger over here in the trigger lineup. This is a really great card. This is Light Dragon, Deity of Honors, Amartinoa, I think that's how to say it. I'm not 100%, don't ring me out for that one. But its additional effect is that until the end of turn, your rear guards also perform drive checks for this turn. So this is really great for the deck because we are, like I said, lacking a lot of shield value in our hands. So getting that extra drive checks, you know, you could potentially draw drive check triggers, which allows you to survive a little bit longer into the game, put some more pressure on your opponent. Additionally, let's say you drove check like 2 triggers during your Bastion turn, you can then have the potential to hit a grade 3 off of him. I know Bastion's second skill is once per turn, but if you didn't hit it originally, you are then able to hit that. So could just make your turn a little bit more impactful with the restand you originally desired. Moving right along, I'm running 8 crits, very simple. I'm running 4 heals also, and I'm running 3 draw. Again, I think the draw is just necessary because we are still, again, our hand size just kind of sucks. We don't have other 5Ks in the deck. In general, they're good to kind of discard. They're good to just block out those small little early game aggressive attacks, which a lot of people seem to do against Bastion. So I think that's also a mistake. If you counter starve them, just go after their rear guards. There is a good chance that you will be able to beat the Bastion player. But yeah, this is my deck profile overall. Let me know you guys would change down below. If you guys want to stick around, I'm going to do a test hand with this and show you my idea of how the deck kind of plays out. Alright, so let's get started over here. Going to start 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's see what we like. I'm also going to flip that guy up from my ride deck. And let's see, I'm going to put the 2 triggers back. I'm going to hold on to these guys. Yeah, let's do that. It's always a little weird wanting a lot of grade 3s in your hand. I feel like, oh god, we got almost the same. Yeah, no, we traded a heal for a crit there. But alright, no problem. We do have a little shield value in our hand. Let's see, shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Alright, cool. Let's hop right into it. Let's pretend we go first just to make it a little bit easier as we do in all of our test hand videos. We're going to stand and draw now. Oh, hate to see that. We drew the over trigger. That really, really sucks. But alright, let's discard this 5k shield. Let's ride onto our Vanguard with our grade 1 and pass over to our opponent. Let's then take a damage for their turn. Boom. Okay. Going to put the damage on right there. Yep, you can still see that. Alright, stand and draw for our turn. Alright, so what else we're going to discard here? I know it's kind of early in the game. It's bad to discard extra shield value, but I might do that just to keep some grade 3s in my hand. Yeah, I'm actually going to do that. Could be a bad decision later on, but overall I'm going to go a little bit greedy. I want to rush him down. I am going first overall, so I am going to then go into this guy. I'm going to reveal 2 grade 3s from my hand. I'm going to reveal these 2. I just don't want to reveal the Fasado. Always reveal your worst cards. I don't feel like these cards are bad, but overall, like, I think they're definitely easy to be, they can be revealed. Like, we're probably going to play them out first. Anyway, we are going to go into, we revealed a Bastion right over here, which is actually really nice. Yeah, what else are we going to do? Anything else? No, I think that's it. yeah, that's it for our turn right now. We are then going to let's swing with Bastion first, actually, because if they hit a trigger, we would have to hit a trigger to get over that. So yeah, let's hit that, and then let's go here, 10k. Boom. All right, over to our opponent. Gonna take 2 damage now for their turn, 1 and 2. Ooh, we do heal 1 out, so it's a good and a bad thing because we do want a lot of counterblasts in this deck, but it is nice, obviously, to heal, just have that damage threshold be a little bit lower. So let's draw for our turn now. We are now going to discard. What do I want to discard? I want to hang on to my shield at this point. I think I'm just going to discard one of him because I already have one in my hand. All right. I am then going to ride into Bastion. So now with Bastion, I'm going to reveal 3 grade 3s. Never reveal your shield value in your hand. Always go and just reveal all the grade 3s, especially ones that you plan on playing that very same turn. So let's go into it. Let us then, first and foremost, pop this guy down. Let's get Counterblast 2, and let's draw 2 cards, and let's give 5k to, I guess, the Bastion over there. Okay, yeah, that is how we are going to rock right now. I'm then going to do the Fasado. I am then going to call Dark Strain over here, and I am going to call this guy, the Raffaluke. Just want pressure with a hit first because I do want to counter charge, so I don't have to take as much damage a little bit later on in the game. But I am going to Soul Blast 2 first. Let's go, and then this guy can then boost. So this guy is going to be 13. It's going to be 15-15. Let's assume our opponent will have this to hit. I'm going to Soul Charge 1. I'm going to counter charge 1. We are then going to swing in with our Bastion. This is just going to be a 15k. Again, his continuous 2k body helps a lot, or actually a 2k helps a lot. Going to drive check 1, drive check 2. All right, we're going to put the, let's do all effects over here and restand in. Actually, let's do the all effects here because we're going to make it a little bit more difficult for our opponent. We're going to restand with 2 of these just jacked up, both going to be 25k, and plus, who wants to let us hit with this guy, it'll allow us to counter charge, and again, soul charge again because we use the Dark Strain. We don't have to put this in soul next turn if we don't want to, and again, just makes this a little bit more threatening, especially if they hit a trigger. So yeah, let's do that. We are also going to then discard a card from our hand at grade 3. Does this have to be grade 3? No, let's just discard a card. Do I want to discard? You know what, I'm going to discard the... Alright, I just want to make sure. Discard a card from hand. Yeah, I'm going to discard the 5k shield. Perfect. And then I'm going to restand him, give him the extra 10k. So now this is going to be 25 to crit. We're going to pop him with that. 25 plus the 15. Yeah, so that's going to be 40. And we are also going to swing in. This is going to be 15 plus 10. This is going to be 25. And then let's assume they guarded that, and then they let us hit with this one again. Soul charge, counter charge. And we're set up nicely for next turn if we did find an Alden. We're going to pass it over to our opponent, take 1 damage, boom, critical, makes things a lot easier on us. We're going to guard out. Let's say 1 more. Okay, cool, another critical. That shuts down their turn, perfect. We're going to stand and draw. Let's see if we can Persona Ride. A Persona Ride really helps. Okay, so we can't, but overall, still not terrible. We do have a lot of pressure now, just with the extra Dark Strain. So we're going to call the Dark Strain, and we're going to do our thing one more time. Again, this is like pretty linear. I'm sorry that I didn't get like an Alden or something on the turn, but this is kind of an example of how to play sub-optimally and just show that, you know, there is still a lot of shield value in my hand overall. You still can guard out a lot because we have 6 units on the field that are grade 3, and potentially next turn, drive checking another grade 3 too. So let's just go in one more time. We'll do this with Fasado this time. This is just 15, see if that poke hits. I'm going to assume it doesn't. We are then going to swing in here. We are going to go, this is going to be 15-15, this is 30 because no Persona Ride, 1 and 2. Okay, perfect. We are then going to discard 1. We are going to restand him, give him that extra 10k. So now, again, just threatening a little bit more. We are, if they're at 4, I would swing with him first. If they're at 5, just swing with your biggest column as soon as you can, no big deal. Dark Strain here, that is going to be, what is that, 15-15, just 30. This is going to be 40, I believe, right? 25 plus that, yeah. That is going to be 40. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'm sorry again I didn't get to pop one of him down, or the grade 2 Battle Sister or OTT looking unit. But overall, that is the idea of the deck. And let me know if you have any questions down below. I hope this little tutorial helped you, especially if you're a new player. Let me know down below if it did. Thank you again. This is Alex from Team Generations signing out.